I've got Deputies Sean Sherlock, Kevin O'Keefe and Minister David Staunton, and the Acting Mayor of Cork County Council, John Paul O'Shea, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. And of course it gives me great pleasure to be here with you in the heart of Munster on the occasion of your conference on developing a sustainable heritage tourism sector in small Irish towns. And I just have to congratulate you on this wonderful school that you have here. It's an absolutely beautiful building, and I understand that my good friend Aegon O'Farrell from County Cavan, which is the neighbouring county to where I live in Monaghan, was here to open your GAA or your football pitch. So it's great to hear that somebody up from Ulster was down here in Munster not so long ago. And I just want to say thank you for the invitation and for the very, very warm welcome. And I think I probably should have had my brother Bert Stewart with me here, because so many people in this neck of the woods seem to know him from your involvement in the IFA. But he did say to me, you're guaranteed a good welcome down here. Now, I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Minister David Staunton, who has told me so much about this wonderful community here in Buttevant. And I just want to say that when I got elected to the Dáil in 2011, David had been there for a good number of years. His office was right next to mine, and I have to say he was a wonderful mentor. He gave me good, solid, sound advice in a very unassuming way, and I want to thank him for that. And indeed, I have to say you're very fortunate in this area, because you have very good representatives in Dáil Éireann, and they certainly are always advocating the need for continued support for this area. So they work very hard on your behalf. And Sean Sherlock there, of course, I don't know if this is right, I should be mentioning this today, but when it comes to the credit union movement, Sean and I have had an involvement in it for a long number of times. So him and I would have spoken on many times about the credit unions and the importance that they do in communities such as this. So David also said to me that this year marks a landmark anniversary in the history of Buttevant. And as you all know, the town is celebrating 700 years as a walled town. And as part of these celebrations, the Buttevant Heritage Group, of course, has organised this wonderful conference with the support of the Irish Walled Towns Network, and who have done so much to enhance the management and the conservation of historic walled towns in Ireland, both north and south. And I'd just like to acknowledge the presence here of members of staff from the Heritage Council and the great work that they do, and the work in collaboration with the heritage officers right across the country, but particularly so here in Cork for this particular event. And I note that the Buttevant Heritage Group is made up of volunteers. And so I know that the conference is happening today because of the great work and the effort of the volunteers in this area to achieve collaboration and with other local, regional and national groups and agencies. And I have to compliment you on getting so many organisations involved and so many organisations working together. So your achievements are a model for other communities. And I just want to say thank you to the volunteers, because we all owe you a huge debt of gratitude, because we wouldn't have the community spirit, we wouldn't have the great progress that we make in rural Ireland without the volunteers, because you do so much work, and sometimes you put your head above the parapet, and that's not always easy to do, but you do that, you get going, and you get the results. And there's certainly results here in Buttevant for all the work that you've done. Historic towns, especially those with attractive medieval structures such as town walls, churches and castles, have so much to offer in terms of developing sustainable heritage tourism in Ireland. They are powerful, living reminders of our past, not to mention a wonderful tourist attraction. So today is an opportunity for heritage groups, community groups and rural businesses to meet and discuss the strengths and the challenges that they meet every day, and to work out and to seek solutions. So there's no doubt about the economic, social and community benefits that can come from promoting small heritage towns. But this isn't just about tourism. A well-managed town with an active spirit of volunteerism is an attractive place to live and to work. So, you know, of course, we hear so much debate about the future of small rural Irish towns. But what you're doing here today demonstrates a way of ensuring that our towns and communities do have a future. And I'm delighted that you benefited from the Town and Village Enhancement Programme, because when that was being rolled out last year and I was involved in it was about asking communities to come together and asking you to identify what you felt would benefit your area, and here you have a wonderful, rich heritage, and it's great to see that you're building on the assets that you have, because there's no point in central government saying you should do this and this. It has to come from the bottom up. And that's why volunteers are so important, because it's that community spirit that we have in rural Ireland that will be, will ensure that we achieve success. And I come from a farm myself. I live out in the middle of the country, and I understand that community spirit that you don't always get in other parts, in the more urban areas, let's say, but you get it here in all of rural Ireland, and it's about building, and it's about encouraging, and it's about enabling volunteers to do and what is right and what is needed in their area. So local initiatives like this can contribute to making visits to small historic towns all the more attractive. And I am sure that other towns will see the benefits of this initiative, and I know you have visitors from other areas here, and it's great to see that you're not just working in isolation here, you're working with other groups in the region, and that's so important as well, because when you work together you get better results. So it really is my pleasure to officially open your conference. I also encourage you to take away a renewed sense of energy in relation to the wonderful work that you do for sustainable heritage tourism. And our heritage is so important for us. Connecting with it is so important, and I'm delighted to see that you have a wonderful exhibition out there where you look back in your history. And 2016 was a great year for us in terms of shining a light on our past and looking at it and discovering things that we didn't know, and looking at our history from all the different narratives, and engaging in our heritage. It gives us a sense of belonging, a sense of place, and as I said, here in Buttevant, you're so fortunate to be steeped in wonderful heritage dating back so many years. And of course you're building on those wonderful assets that you have, and you're showing them, you're sharing them, and you're showing them to others, and your tourism initiative will be wonderful, I have no doubt. So look, I just want to wish you all the very best into the future, and thanks again for the very warm welcome.
This is the book on the history of Buttevant, which our local archaeologist Eamon Cotter assembled from a previous conference that was held here in Buttevant, organised by the previous chairman, Lillian Sheehan. And we're really proud of this book, and it's done wonders for Buttevant, so I would like to present this to you on behalf of Buttevant Heritage Group.